What if I told you that your aging parent, your mom, your dad, maybe even your beloved grandparent, doesn't have to spend the last years of their life in a place that feels cold, clinical, and unfamiliar? What if growing old didn't have to mean giving up their independence, their routines, their morning coffee on the porch, their favorite chair by the window, or the sound of birds outside their own home? You see, so many families, maybe even yours, are quietly carrying this heavy weight. That constant worry. Am I doing the right thing? Is a nursing home the only safe option left? Will they hate me for this decision later? You're not alone in those thoughts. We're told over and over again that as our loved ones age, the only path is to move them into a nursing home. But here's the truth nobody talks about. There are better ways. Ways that protect their health, yes, but also honor their dignity, their freedom, and their sense of self. Because let's be honest, aging isn't just about medical needs. It's about living. Really living. And you know what? You do have choices. Real, practical, meaningful alternatives. Alternatives that don't feel like lesser options, but rather like a fresh start. A new chapter filled with love, comfort, and independence. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 alternatives to nursing homes that you might not even know exist. Options that can help your loved ones stay safe without feeling stuck, stay supported without feeling controlled, and stay connected to life without being cut off from it. Some of these ideas may surprise you. Some might open your eyes. All of them are meant to give your family hope and a plan. So stay with me. This conversation might just change the way you see senior care forever. And before we begin, let me ask you something simple, but powerful. Comment, "Dignity matters," if you believe that growing older should never mean giving up your voice, your freedom, or your pride. And if you care deeply about doing what's best for your aging loved ones, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to Healthy Senior Advice for more honest, heartfelt guidance on aging with grace. Alright, let's explore what's possible. 1. Aging in place with home modifications. Let me tell you about Harold. Harold is a retired engineer. Quiet man, humble. He spent over 40 years building things for other people. But the most precious thing he ever built was his home. Brick by brick, memory by memory, it was his and his late wife's sanctuary. After she passed, that house became more than just walls and windows. It became a piece of her. When his knees started to ache and the stairs became harder to climb, his daughter worried. She thought maybe it was time for a nursing home. But Harold? He didn't want to go anywhere. He didn't want to start over. And the truth is, he didn't have to. With just a few thoughtful changes, like a walk-in shower, grab bars in the bathroom, brighter lights in the hallway, and even a simple stair lift, Harold stayed right where he belonged. That's the beauty of aging in place. It means you can grow old in the comfort of your own home, surrounded by your memories, your neighborhood, and your favorite armchair. Now, I know what some people might say. Isn't that dangerous? What if they fall? What if they're alone? But here's the thing. Staying at home doesn't mean staying unsafe. We now have smart home technology, emergency alert buttons, video check-ins, and part-time caregivers who can pop in and assist with just what's needed. It's about creating a space that adapts to the person, not forcing the person to abandon the space. So if your loved one feels most at peace in their own home, aging in place could be the most empowering option out there. But what if a few handrails and gadgets aren't quite enough? What if they need daily support, but still want to live life on their terms? Let's talk about that next. 2. Assisted living communities. Now picture Maria. Maria's spirit never aged. She loved people, music, and Sunday morning walks. But over the years, cooking became tiring, her medication routine got a bit complicated, and dressing herself some mornings felt overwhelming. Her daughter worried that she was slipping through the cracks. Then one day, they visited an assisted living community nearby, and everything changed. Maria found a place where she didn't just receive help, she found friends. Where every day felt like a fresh opportunity, not a restriction. These communities are designed for people like Maria, seniors who still want independence, but could use a little help with the daily things. Dressing, bathing, meals, even managing meds. Now, There's a misconception out there. People hear assisted living and think nursing home light. But that's just not true. These places often feel more like small resorts. You'll find private rooms, on-site dining, gardens, fitness classes, even art workshops and outings. There's structure, yes, but also choice. Every resident decides how they spend their time. And the best part? There's help when you need it, and space when you don't. Still, maybe your loved one wants even more independence. Maybe they're active, sharp, and still driving, but they're looking for a sense of community. In that case, there's another option to consider. 3. Independent living communities. Meet George. George is 72. Still walks with a pep in his step. Doesn't need help bathing, doesn't need help with meals. He just wants a place where he feels connected. Somewhere he's not just a name on a mailbox, but a part of something. So he moved into a senior independent living community. Essentially, a retirement apartment complex where everyone's around the same stage of life. He still makes his own meals if he wants to. He drives to the hardware store. He reads the paper every morning on his balcony. But now, he also plays bingo on Tuesdays. He goes to chair yoga on Thursdays. And every Friday night, he meets his neighbors for potluck dinner down at the community center. Independent living communities are perfect for seniors who are active, alert, and mostly self-sufficient, but no longer want the burdens of home maintenance, isolation, or having to rely on family for every outing. Here's what to look for. On-site transportation so they can still run errands. Activity schedules that actually feel fun and engaging. Optional meals, laundry, and cleaning services. A safe environment where help is nearby, but never intrusive. And if you're thinking, won't they feel supervised? Let me ease your mind. Most residents feel more free, not less. Why? Because they're around peers. They can participate or not. The choice is always theirs. But now let's say your loved one doesn't need full-time help. They just need a little support here and there, a middle ground between total independence and round-the-clock care. Well, we've got an option for that too. 4. Adult foster care or family care homes. Now let me introduce you to Dorothy. Dorothy spent most of her life caring for others. She raised 3 children, worked as a school secretary, and baked a lemon pie every Sunday, no matter what. But after a fall that left her with limited mobility, her family knew she couldn't live completely on her own. Still, the thought of a big institutional setting made her heart sink. That's when her daughter discovered something different. Something many people don't even know exists. It's called adult foster care, or sometimes family care homes. Dorothy moved into a private, cozy house with just 3 other seniors. It wasn't cold. It wasn't clinical. It felt like home. There was a full-time caregiver who knew her name, her preferences, even how she liked her tea. She wasn't just one of many. She was Dorothy. These homes provide care in a real, residential setting, often run by trained caregivers who live on site. The caregiver-to-resident ratio is low, so your loved one doesn't get lost in a crowd. There's warmth. There's attention. There's heart. Now, some people hear foster care and immediately think of a group home. But this is not that. These are licensed, regulated environments, but they feel like you're visiting a beloved aunt's house, not entering a facility. So if your loved one thrives in small, intimate settings and craves meaningful relationships instead of rotating staff, this might be the perfect fit. But let's say they still want their own space, their own routine. What if care could simply come to them? 5. In-home care services. Let's talk about Helen. Helen was sharp, fiercely independent. The kind of woman who still woke up at 6 a.m., ironed her clothes, and read the newspaper cover to cover. But arthritis made some things tough, like climbing into the bath or sorting her meds. Her solution: in-home care. A nurse came by 3 times a week to help with her medication and assist with bathing. The rest of the time, she ran her life like always. She made her own breakfast. She called her grandchildren. She watched her favorite TV shows on her own time. That's the beauty of in-home care. It's completely customizable. Whether you need a caregiver to pop in for an hour each morning or a live-in aide who's there around the clock, there's a level of support for every situation. Some people think this option is only for the wealthy. But the truth is, many services are covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or long-term care insurance. There are also state programs that help offset costs for qualified seniors. You can find visiting nurses for medical tasks, certified aides for personal care, even companions to help reduce loneliness and assist with errands. In-home care is ideal for seniors who value their independence but need a little extra help to stay safe and well. But sometimes, it's not just about help. It's about connection, companionship, community. And that's where this next idea really shines. 6. Co-housing or shared living arrangements. Let me paint a picture for you. 3 widowed friends, Joyce, Linda, and May, all in their 70s, all living alone in quiet houses, growing lonelier by the year. Then one day, over coffee, they had a wild idea. Why not live together? They pooled their money, rented a charming 3-bedroom home, and split the costs of groceries, utilities, and a housekeeper. Suddenly, they weren't just surviving, they were living. They laughed again. They shared meals. They supported each other during doctor's visits and rainy days. It was more than practical. It was healing. This is co-housing or shared senior living, and it's gaining popularity fast. It's not just for college kids. It's a lifeline for older adults who are tired of feeling alone, who want to reduce expenses, and who believe that aging doesn't mean isolating. There are even online platforms and local directories that help seniors find like-minded roommates, people who share similar lifestyles, habits, and values. Of course, it's important to discuss expectations, household rules, and boundaries ahead of time. But for many, this kind of shared living is the closest thing to having a chosen family. Still, maybe your loved one does want to live with family, but not on top of each other. They want to be close, but also independent. That's where this final option comes in. 7. Multigenerational living with private space. When David's mom, Rosa, had a mild stroke, he didn't hesitate. He brought her into his home. But instead of just putting a bed in the guest room, he and his wife made a bold choice. They renovated their basement into a fully private suite, complete with its own entrance, a small kitchenette, and a sitting area just for Rosa. This is multigenerational living, reimagined. It's not about giving up privacy or space. It's about sharing life in a way that works for everyone. Rosa had her own schedule, her own visitors, her own routines. And yet, she was just a staircase away from her grandchildren and a dinner table full of laughter. A lot of people think living with family means constant togetherness or loss of boundaries. But it doesn't have to. With a little planning, you can create clear zones, shared responsibilities, and mutual respect. It could be a converted garage, an in-law suite, or even a tiny home in the backyard. This setup works beautifully for families who want to keep their loved ones close, while still allowing everyone room to breathe. And at the end of the day, that's what all these options are really about. Freedom, dignity, connection. Your loved one doesn't have to settle for a one-size-fits-all solution. They deserve to age in a way that feels safe, joyful, and true to who they are. And you deserve peace of mind, knowing that you explored every meaningful path available. You know, watching your parent, or someone you love deeply, lose their strength, their confidence, or just a little bit of their spark. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever go through. The quiet changes happen first. They stop gardening. They avoid the stairs. They cancel lunch with friends. And before you know it, you're stuck between 2 fears. What if I don't do enough? And what if I make the wrong choice? But here's something I want you to remember. Something I need you to hold on to. Placing your loved one in a nursing home doesn't have to be your only option. Because when you think about it, you're not just choosing care. You're choosing something far bigger. You're choosing respect. You're choosing dignity. You're choosing love in its most selfless form. These options we've talked about today, they're not just checkboxes. They're ways to say, I see you. I want your life to keep meaning something, on your terms. And the truth is, your loved one doesn't want to be a burden. They don't want to feel forgotten or pushed aside. They just want to feel safe, valued, and still in control of their world. So where do you begin? Start with a conversation. An honest, loving one. Ask what they want, what matters to them. Talk about fears. Talk about possibilities. Because the most powerful decisions are made together. And if that conversation feels hard, that's okay. That just means you care. You're not alone in this. There are answers out there. There are resources. There's support. There's hope, real, tangible hope. And most of all, there is you. A person showing up, learning, and doing their absolute best. With every bit of knowledge you gain, you grow stronger. Stronger in your ability to care. Stronger in your confidence. Stronger in your compassion. And trust me, that kind of strength changes lives. So, let's take a moment and walk back through what we've explored today. 7 powerful alternatives to the traditional nursing home model. 7 real, flexible, and human-centered options that honor both safety and soul. 1. Aging in place, with thoughtful home modifications. 2. Assisted living communities, where help meets independence. 3. Independent living complexes, for active seniors who love freedom. 4. Adult foster care homes, where warmth and family-like care thrive. 5. In-home services, customizable care delivered right to their doorstep. 6. Co-housing, where companionship transforms everyday life. 7. Multigenerational living, sharing a home while keeping your space. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these alternatives speaks to you the most? Have you seen one of them work beautifully in your own family, or maybe you're considering it now for someone you love? Drop your story in the comments below. Let's turn this community into a place where we learn from each other, because your voice matters more than you know. Just type "Dignity Matters" if you believe aging should never mean giving up your independence. And hey, if you're walking this path right now, navigating tough decisions, trying to balance care and compassion, I want you to know this space is for you. So hit that like button if this video gave you clarity or comfort. And go ahead and subscribe to Healthy Senior Advice, because here, we talk about real solutions, honest struggles, and hopeful possibilities. This journey isn't easy, but you don't have to do it alone. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for being someone who cares deeply. Remember, aging should never mean giving up your dignity. It should mean growing with grace, surrounded by people who see your worth. So stay strong, stay informed, and most of all, stay connected. I'll see you in the next video.